Hello everyone, thank you for joining us and welcome to Facebook Moms at Work live session. My name is Amy and I'm a recruiter on the APAC recruiting team, but more than that, I'm a mother of 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, and I've recently returned from maternity leave. I have with me today 3 lovely ladies who are also moms on different teams across Facebook, and we are here today to share more about our personal experiences as well as discuss tips on achieving work-life integration. We will also be taking some questions live from the audience later, so please feel free to leave them in the comments. With that, ladies, please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, I'm Shweta Gera. I have been with Facebook for 7.5 months. I'm on the quality operations for Audience Network. I have 2 beautiful girls, very energetic, super lovely, super caring, 7 and 3 years old. I'm very excited to be here to share the things that I've learned through my journey and to share my experiences.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire. I'm on the communications team here at Facebook, so I am used to being the other side of the camera. This is very strange. I am the mother of 2 sons, a 5 and a 4-year-old, highly energetic, and yeah, looking forward to answering questions and having a chat about being a parent at work.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Bharati and I lead WhatsApp for APAC. I'm super excited to be here. I'm a mom of a teenage daughter.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's just start off with something simple. Can you describe what was your most memorable experience as a mom?
For me, it was right after my having a second girl. For me, that was the point where I was looking up at how my 5-year-old back then was bringing up. I was able to bring her up, and how the love and affection that she is able to bring to the family and the joy that we had. And also look at my mom, who's been able to give me those values of being a mother, to be able to share her experiences. It was like a moment for me to light up, and the joy that I had of being a mother was amazing. And that's what I can call out as like my most memorable moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I don't think there's one. I think the beauty of having kids is that there are memorable moments every single day, good and bad.
Yes.
So take, for example, this morning, I left my eldest dressed as Elsa and my youngest dressed as Woody from Toy Story. And we'd had a conversation at breakfast about which is the best superpower to have. If you're interested, apparently time travel and X-ray vision wins. So I think it's the little things, like there's lots of defining moments, but they're at a wonderful age for just like complete hilarity every single day.
Awesome. I agree.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. It's a continuum, but one thing that sticks in my mind, and it's actually related to work, way back when I used to have a team in India, and every night we'd have a voice call, and I'd get on the call saying, "Hi, this is Bharati, who else do we have on the call?" And my daughter, when she was gifted one of these toy phones, she thought, that's how you talk on the phone. "Hi, this is Bharati. Who else do we have on the call?" so
Ready for FaceTime.
she thought a phone is always a voice conference.
She's ready for meetings here.
She's ready for meetings.
She's ready.
I think for me, I agree. It's not one particular moment. Every milestone that my kids have, I think that's really memorable, and I actually use Facebook to keep track of this quite a bit. And my favorite feature is the On This Day feature, when you just see those pictures and just bring back so many heartwarming memories. But perhaps something more recent was when we were on our way driving home, and I was at the back of the car in between 2 kids, and my daughter is on one side fussing and crying, just wanting to be out of the car seat, and usually my son is on the other side grabbing my arm, trying to get my attention. But while I was talking to her and trying to calm her down, that I heard this little voice beside me singing the alphabet song and saying, don't cry, we're almost home."
Aww.
And yeah, that was just really heartwarming for me, because he's having quite a tough time adjusting to life as an elder brother. So yeah, that just really made me very happy. So on the flip side though, what has been your biggest challenge in your journey as a working mom?
So for me has been finding ways to support myself, both outside of work and at work, right? For me, outside of work has been personally, spiritually strengthening myself through Christ, through Bible, my prayers. That's what brings me the strength that I need to be a good mom, a good human being, to be able to bring those values to my children. At the same time, at work, when I look at it, it's more about getting over the guilt, getting over the things that you are not able to achieve that others are, comparing yourself. I think you really need to focus on what you want to achieve in your career, have those specific specific goals, and don't look at work from someone else's eyes. You really need to plan what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. That was super challenging for me, but I think the strength that I got through my spiritual well-being kind of drove me to better understand those challenges, accept the trade-offs that I'm willing to make at work and outside work. That was the key thing for me, and that's how I was able to overcome those challenges.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know we have similar challenges. I think it's really like figuring out what you're okay with and what makes you happy. When I was pregnant with my first child, I remember a colleague saying to me, the best thing you can do, and we were talking about like, do you continue work part-time, full-time, travel, don't travel, like where should you draw the line? Was like, the best thing you can do for your kids is be the best version of yourself. Do what makes you happy. It's kind of like when you're on an aeroplane and they give you the oxygen instructions and they're like, sort yourself out first and then sort your child out. And my mum said it to me in those very kind of early months where you're getting no sleep, and she was like, go back to bed, because if you're not happy and you're not getting sleep, the baby's going to be awful. And I was very grateful for that. And so I think it's figuring out like what makes you happy, what makes the family happy, and then being in an environment. I think we're all very lucky here at Facebook that supports both of those things.
Yeah, agree.
And understanding that it's different for everyone.
Totally. Agreed.
I think for me, if I had to pick the challenge, it's really setting boundaries for myself, artificial or real, and often they're artificial. That imagining, and so to give you a quick background, I moved to Singapore about 2 years ago, and I did it just with my daughter. My husband was still back in the US, and she had just started middle school. So you can imagine sort of the societal pressure and everybody else saying, how can you pull a kid out of middle school? How can you move without your husband? How can, and turned out this was the job I wanted, and the people who mattered to me most were actually super supportive. My husband said, of course, why would you not? You're going to go lead APAC. Of course you do. And my parents, my sisters, and in my daughter, when she finally got around to the idea that's actually an adventure, she was like, yeah, absolutely, let's go. Because she had traveled widely with me, so that was great. But I'd say the challenging part was me putting those, I didn't even raise my hand up in the beginning because like, oh, how could I do this? Is it even possible? But once you just get past that, you'll just see that, especially in Facebook, this is a culture that's first a community internally before we are colleagues.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my transition here was made possible not just because of the benefits, but also the people.
Yeah.
When I first landed, we had no furniture. There were colleagues here. I mean, I just posted on Singapore Social. I just got a bunch of furniture and utensils and everything. They just set me up for the first week. Because my stuff was still coming in from Palo Alto. And I was like, for a week, they need to spot me with some stuff. So that's how it happened. We've actually roomed with other people because, we didn't have a house set up yet or whatever. It's so it's the community internally that just stepped up and helped me out.
Awesome. I think for me personally, just because I'm just back from maternity, it's quite fresh in my mind. I think one of the challenges is breastfeeding. So, it's a lot of time that you need to take out of your workday to go and express milk, and at the same time also when you're back at home, it's not something that you can outsource. You just have a lot of sleepless nights, right? But I think how I've overcome it is, one, I've conditioned my body to need less sleep, but secondly also just being more efficient with my time while I'm at work. So while I'm expressing, maybe I will be replying emails, taking some calls and stuff like that. So just being able to multitask, I think is what helps me to overcome some of these challenges. But I think another common challenge that many working moms face is traveling. So I know the three of you have to travel very frequently for work, and we all know how hectic work travels can be. So like Claire, I believe you travel over 50% of the time. How do you balance that with family time?
Yeah, so I think I'd first say, and hopefully my husband's not watching this, but there are some enjoyable parts to traveling when you have two young kids. Like, number one, you get a bed to yourself, you get uninterrupted sleep, and you have breakfast without sibling squabbles. So, let's not knock that part of it. But also, it's hard.
Yes.
And so you have to incorporate a few things. There's things we do. My husband also travels as well, and we do the same when he goes. we talk to the kids about where we're going. So they're a bit older now, they understand a map. My eldest can pinpoint Delhi because I used to spend a lot of time there. We also have a chart so they can count down the days to when we're coming back.
That's nice.
And we either do video calls or we'll try and do like videos of where we're going if we can't speak to them. And all of those things that we do actually came from people here at Facebook who do the same with their children as well. And then the other great thing about it is there is no better feeling in the world, especially at this age, or a really good age for this, when you walk back through the door and they meet you from the airport.
Just that joy, right?
And I actually think it's harder on the parents than on them. I think they're fine.
Agreed. Bharati, you have an older daughter, a teenager. Does it get better? Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
No. It just gets, it's different.
Yeah.
There are different challenges. And since mine is older, we WhatsApp. We are never not in touch with each other throughout the day. We are WhatsApping each other. We have a family group, and whether it's fun stuff or things that are not going well, etc. So we're always in touch. I think so that part can get sorted. But I think the difficult part is like, she's after all a teenager. There'd be times when she'd really want somebody to be there, not just WhatsApp, but physically be there so she can vent and things like that. And so we try to balance. There've been times when through my work job when I couldn't avoid the weekend, I would just fly her over to where I am. And so at a very young age, she knows how to travel alone. So
Yeah, I think adding to what they shared too, it's also figuring out alternatives and what works for you, right? And I think that's where Facebook has been super supportive for me. In just 7.5 months too, I had to travel twice already. And I said, okay, this time I won't be able to make it, but how can I make it work for me? So I asked the team if I can dial in like my 6 a.m. to like 10 p.m. And they had to do post-lunch sessions in MPK, and stay back till like 6 p.m. their time. And we worked it out. I did not travel for my team summit, but I was still able to contribute, bring in the impact, brainstorm on the ideas. So I think for me, the key is at Facebook, you have the opportunity and you have team members, you have the community that will help you, but you have to take the ownership to push for those solutions. You have to step up and say, hey, I think this will work for me and this is what I'm willing to do. Can we make this work for me? So I think my team has been super supportive. My org has been super supportive. So I really appreciate the flexibility that I get. And maybe I can just work that day for the rest of the week, right? Like that's what I did for that week. I did not travel. I was able to stay with my family because they needed me, but I was also able to hugely impact by brainstorming, discussing the ideas, setting up our team for success, right? Yeah. So I think representing my region, because I'm the only member here for my team, that was also super helpful. So I think that's what Facebook gave me and the strength that I was able to use.
Awesome. So a survey finding from Working Mother Research Institute shared that approximately 65% of working mothers report that they can influence their work schedules, but only 37% truly participate in flexible working arrangements. So at Facebook, I mean, as exemplified by everything that you shared, we emphasize strongly on work-life flexibility for all of our employees. So I'd like to know, at what level do you incorporate flexible working into your schedules, and can you describe some arrangements that have worked well for you?
Yeah, so for us, our team is global. Truly, we have teams in London, in India, back in the US. So by that definition, there's no one time in the day where all of us are available. So because of that, we are literally on 24/7, but not continuously on. Right. And so I would say not just because you're a working mom, just as a team, we've had to be flexible about expectation of the other person's availability as soon as you text them, or so we have these group norms on the channels that we communicate in and the speed with which we expect responses on those. Email versus WhatsApp chat versus work chat. Actually, they're different. Did you know that? There are different levels of immediacy. There are different levels of immediacy on those things. So I think just being aware that we're in different time zones, that itself sets us up to be more patient with each other. Yep. And also be more supportive of each other if a question comes about from EMEA and my team member is not awake at that time, then one of us will step in and answer.
Absolutely.
So I think it's on building on the same lines. For me, what helped was set the right expectations. I'm someone who was okay to take meetings at like 11 p.m., 10 p.m., But for me, the cutoff is 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is my family time. I cannot do like super early meetings. I need to be there for my daughter when she's going to school, just make sure she is ready. And that kind of helped me. I'm okay to be the person who is dialing in late, but that kind of gives me the flexibility, right? That's what we are talking about, flexibility. Completely being able to disconnect to parts of the days where you really have to be there for your family, but also to be able to bring in the impact by understanding what times work for me. Like if you ask me to like maybe schedule like a meeting morning at 8 a.m., it would be relatively challenging for me to do versus 11 p.m. I'm more than happy to be able to dial in late, but they wouldn't know that unless I go and speak up and tell them, hey guys, this is what works for me. Let's make this work for everyone else. And how can I help and support that? And that way, I think my team in org has been like super supportive. And that's what I do. Set the right expectations, tell them what works for you, tell them what doesn't work for you, and go from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think this question applies to everyone, not just parents, especially in our team where we're working with the press who are 24/7. So there's going to be times where you take calls on holidays or work late into the evening. But we have a pretty awesome comms team here at Facebook, and we're very supportive of each other. And we will do everything it takes to make sure if someone's on holiday that they don't get disturbed, and then vice versa. And we also have the benefit of having colleagues in other regions, so we can kind of pass an issue on or a press cycle on, and they work on it through the night, and then we wake up to it. So yeah, I think it's just like they say it takes a village, and so use your village that you have at work, and I'm blessed to have a pretty good village.
Absolutely. I think it's just about setting boundaries, right? And just being open in terms of communication. If certain times don't work for you, like weekends, are super important to spend with family, then we want to make sure that, we try to don't disrupt that as much as possible. But I think a common theme here seems to be about the importance of having support, and the workplace, which includes the company culture and the teams that you work on, have a huge influence in how moms can deliver the biggest impact while meeting their personal and professional commitments. So how instrumental has your manager been and teams been in helping you achieve success? Claire?
Yeah, so I'll say it again, like I'm blessed with an awesome team. And it's not just because I'm a mum, like everyone on the team has things that they need to do, places they need to be, holidays that they need to go on. And I think especially when you work in the roles that we do, everyone needs to take time when there isn't an issue or a crisis on. And that's been really important. So I think having the support of your team, of your manager, and of the company at large has been really helpful for me. And, it was a discussion we had when I took this job 3.5 years ago. It was going to be hard, but that was going to make me happy. I enjoy my job. And that's a big part of it, being comfortable and happy with what you do and setting the right boundaries.
Completely agree. And Sweta?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing, right? Setting those expectations. And I really feel blessed to be in the org and the team that I am. Being the only team member from this location has also made me be more vocal about my issues, and they've been super supportive. I remember the 2-week vacation I had to take to India, and I was telling them, hey guys, I won't be available at all, like I'll be at a wedding, and they're like, just don't bother, like we would expect you not to be online, please do not like look at emails, we will take care of that. And that was kind of encouraging, right? Like, yes, you will feel guilty about like not being able to contribute, there might be more important issues that might come up, they might need your support, but I think Facebook pushes you to be able to make work-life balance work for you. So I think that's what was key for me, and that's how I was able to maintain the work-life balance through my vacation, through my weekends, working with kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Bharati, and you've been managing a team of a fairly large team over the past few years as well. So how do you find that you have to adjust your management style to to take consideration of your teams, at different life stages?
I think the key is right at the top. We said, everybody has their own needs, and being mindful of that and being supportive of that. We actually have people who are with children who are teenagers. We have people on my team who are not even married, and so we have the entire gamut actually. And I think because we start off as being, and we keep repeating, we are a community. Before we are colleagues, we are a community, and we actually do know what what each one values. You know, like one of my colleagues, he's into diving, and so literally when he's off under the sea, we can't get hold of him. but having said that, you know, there are times when he's on middle of the night covering for us. So I think just being there for each other, whether or not that they're moms, it's nothing to do necessarily with being a mom. It's just being a good colleague to each other.
Agreed.
Empathy and respect.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And just to add to that, like building community is not just in our mission and values, it actually happens as a community of co-workers and within the company. So I really could see that in 6-7 months. So I can definitely vouch for that.
Awesome. Great. I mean, and I think beyond the personal interactions as well, the physical workspace also, you know, plays quite a big part in helping moms in their transition back to work. For example, myself, you know, since I've just returned from maternity leave, I value the mother's room, which which I use to express milk for my child. Shweta, what other workspaces are important to you?
So for me, the key is I'm a mother till the time I step into the office. And the minute I'm home, I have to switch back to being a mom, like take care of kids and just plan for the next day, their meals, etc. Right? So I think for me, the real break that I get for myself is at work. Like be it the coffee that I have to grab, right?
You agree, right? The coffee.
So like I can stare out of the window and just like get that 10-minute break that I need to refresh myself. Like just go get that coffee and just I think those are the things that really help me and to find that space and comfort and flexibility to do that too, right? Like to be able to not really say, oh, I'm taking like 10 minutes break, it became 15, became 30. That's not the case. Like you really have the flexibility to do it at your own pace, plan it on how you really want it, and to be able to have the community, like you said, just talk to someone, like just be there for others too, not just for yourself, like be there for others, be encouraging. So I think these are the kind of things that helps me and that I bring into work.
Yeah, absolutely. Claire?
Yeah, so I think being a parent teaches you ruthless efficiency and an ability to not sweat the small stuff. So I think my family and also my colleagues would attest to this, like personal admin is my most hated thing. And I will do anything I can to either not do it or minimize the amount that I have to do. And I think we're very fortunate that Facebook allows for that. Like we have, postal services and dry cleaning services and all the little things are kind of taken care of, which for me is a blessing. And it means that it has an impact on the rest of your day and your week and the time that you can spend doing other things.
Agree completely. And I think, Shweta, you brought up an important point on having time to yourself. You know, as moms, we tend to be juggling 10 different things at once, both at work as well as with the family. So how do you find time for yourself? Do you even have time for yourself?
Yes.
Between traveling, kids, and all that.
I think, so it's not like, 1 hour per day I do my yoga or something. It's not that, but the flexibility to do what I want to do. And I love to cook. And I don't get that many opportunities because I'm not around most of the time, and I love to bake. So, and I start baking literally at 10 p.m. at night because I have calls at 11, so I can get going. And I think it's the house is quiet and I can do that. And it's very therapeutic to be able to do what I want to do. And certainly even at work, coffee is such a huge deal for me. I'm a coffee addict, so having great coffee is a huge benefit.
And you're not making it for yourself.
I mean, if it was any floor lower, I'd be going there even more often. But it's like 4 floors, and I've now set a limit that I have to actually climb the stairs to go get coffee.
Wow. So you've done exercise.
I've done exercise and I've got my caffeine.
Check ruthless efficiency.
Yes.
Same. I'm like ruthlessly efficient with that part as well. Again, my team will tell you that any exercise that can be done in under 15 minutes and deliver results is like amazing. So like HIIT workouts, which you can also do when you travel in hotel rooms.
Oh yes.
You can have a glass of wine or maybe 2 in 15 minutes. Like you definitely.
It's about just taking the small pockets of me time, rather than long stretches.
Well, I don't know. I go on holidays without my children and my husband too. So
I am waiting for that day.
You do that too? I've done that.
Awesome. So I think the other thing is also we talk about the importance of being 100% present in whatever we do. what does that mean to you?
I think it comes with, again, setting those expectations, right? And to be able to support yourself. For me, it's a combination of these two things. What am I expecting? What are my unspoken expectations? And how can I make sure that the unspoken expectations that I have, I can translate into like feedback, or make sure that I'm making sure I'm addressing those issues, and to be able to have the support system to build around that. My mom supports me so much. My husband supports throughout the other challenges that we come through. And for me, all these things play a role in being able to be there 100%, right? It's not one thing that applies. It's these little pockets of things that kind of help me to be there. So
makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I struggle with this one. Like being 100% present, like we've been trying to be good and put phones down at meals time. And I have tried to not have the phone as the first thing I look at every morning, and I have failed miserably. So yeah, it's an area of development, I would say, being 100% present somehow.
Yeah, agreed.
So Facebook is a very data-driven company. For me, I measure things by results. So, so it's not so. I cannot measure commitment percentages, but I cannot measure presence percentages, but I can measure commitments.
Yeah.
So I know that in order to deliver on a commitment, I would have had to be 100% present in order to deliver on that commitment. So whether it's on a personal level or professional level, the commitments, and they're not goals; they're actually commitments. So there's no 50-50 on it. You just have to do it. So the very few things that I do commit to my daughter's school are like, she plays music. So every music concert, I absolutely have mapped it out for the entire calendar year, and I do show up.
Okay.
Considering I'm tone deaf, that's a big win. So long. Exactly.
Yeah. And your kids just appear for that little bit.
But I sit through the whole thing with flowers in my hand. So
yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. So let's go now to some live questions. We have a question from Andrea. So what are the employee initiatives and benefits that Facebook have to offer to help employees go through life changes and stages? So I'll take that one. So for benefits, we have a whole suite of unique and generous benefits which we extend to all of our employees across Facebook, no matter their gender, their level, and so on. And this varies slightly by geography, but basically is designed to make every Facebooker's life easier. So specifically for new parents, we have 4 months baby care leave, which applies to both moms as well as dads. So paternity and maternity are both 4 months. Next, we have a question from Palm Sonia Biju. So I have a 21-month-old and I am working from home. I am planning to work full-time once he's 2. I just don't know how to do it, and I get scared to leave him when he only goes to playgroup for 3 hours. So how do I manage the home, hubby, and toddler without missing out on things, plus taking care of myself? Will anybody be interested to hire me after a 3-year break? Are you guys scared too?
So yeah, I think I can connect to that. I myself took a break after my second baby. And I think the challenge that she's talking about is definitely a challenge like anything else. I just think you need to push yourself, really understand what you want to achieve, and put yourself out there. Definitely there'll be companies who are more than interested. I was, and Claire was saying yesterday that she was hired when she was carrying, right? Like, so I think those are the things that you need to be able to push yourself, how you present yourself, how you plan, and get over the guilt. I know it eats up a lot of mothers. Self-pity, guilt are really big challenges that we all face, and it's not just one person. All mothers face that. So I think to be able to be strong, take control of your career, take control of the things that you want to do, is the biggest recommendation that I would give. And definitely, I'm pretty sure a lot of companies will be super excited to hire mothers because of the ruthless efficiency that we all bring in. So yeah, I think that would be my take.
Yeah, I'd also just say enjoy it. Like, you know, I think we've all talked about the benefits of like being away from your children from a bit. Like, there are some positives, and the moments when you go back to them can sometimes be more enjoyable. And I think they also benefit from like diversity of interaction. You know, I'm also fortunate that like I have grandparents who can still travel and they can visit a lot and they spend a lot of time with them. And I love that. Like that's awesome to see. And again, like knowing that I'm a better person for not being 24/7 with them, they should just enjoy as well, and definitely don't be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, and soon they'll enjoy other kids' company more than just being with you all the time. So, yeah. I guess my thing is like, you know, and probably this is not going to be super popular, is like, by the time my daughter was 2, I was a mom only for 2 years. There are professionals who do this for a living. I do what I do for a living. So I'm going to hand her over to the professionals.
And they have fun, right? At playgroup, you know, they make new friends. My son has a girlfriend that day. He came back and told me that he has a girlfriend. He's 3. I'm not ready for that. No, I'm not ready.
Stay at home forever, right?
Yes, exactly. No, not forever. Not forever. I want a bit to myself. I want to go on holidays too. So we have another question from Brittany Schleck. Hey there, I'm a mom to a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 6-week-old. I own 3 businesses, the newest being a startup called The Platform, where we passionately empowering communities using a shared talent economy. So our culture is about all entrepreneurship and education that is applicable, and we found it difficult to interpret our beliefs into actual policies as we scale. So my question is, what policies are currently in place at Facebook that uphold the culture and values, especially for working parents? Thanks.
I think our values, right?
Yeah, so I think probably one of our values that resonates most is focus on impact. And it's definitely a conversation we're having as a team, not just because, you know, some of us are parents, but it's again around ruthless prioritization. Like what's going to make a difference, what's going to have an impact. And it means having sometimes hard conversations about what you can't do so that you can focus on that. And that's really important if you can build that into a company culture and everyone feels empowered to have those discussions.
Absolutely.
And I think the other ones for me would be like be bold and also build social value. We talked about how we all are very supportive of each other in our teams, not just immediate team, but even the extended teams. I think that's just in our DNA. That's enshrined in our values, and we kind of live by that. So
Agreed.
Yeah, it is building the community together, right? Like that's what we've been discussing. So I think to sum it up, the impact that you bring, be bold and build the social value and be able to build the community together are definitely the values at Facebook.
Agreed. And I think the other thing also for me is being open, you know, whether it's being open in terms of communication with your team, with your manager, just being able to set those boundaries. And I think underlying all of that is being respectful. And having empathy, right? Because everyone has different needs. Different schedules work well for, you know, different arrangements work well for different people. So I think it's just having that just helps us. I think it's just something that we embody, and it's not just a poster on the wall. So I think that's something that we experience. Another question from Bhargati Jain is, as I am a working and lactating mother of a 14-month child, I'm unable to do office tasks at home. Due to this, my performance as a mother, daughter-in-law, wife, and colleagues suffer. What should I do?
I mean, it's hard. 14 months is hard. We've all been there. I remember my first, I think, work trip after my first was at 4 months. And that, you know, that meant a long journey, and I also, I think, missed his first birthday, which he'd never remember, so that's fine.
That's fine.
But I think, again, like I always come back to like just figure out how you can make yourself happy, and then the rest will fall in line. Like if something's not working, then change it, and have a conversation with whoever you need to have a conversation with about that. And also don't get fixated on trying to do it all, trying to do everything at the same time, every minute of the day. You can't, like it's physically and mentally impossible. And so again, just focus on the things that are really important for the next 6 months or however long that is.
Agreed.
It's probably not necessary to be the number one in all the, 4 or 5 dimensions she's mentioned, all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's quite possible that they're just her own internal expectations versus anybody else actually expecting that of her.
I think sometimes we are hardest on ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think she just sort of prioritizing and just thinking about and setting those boundaries, right? And just realizing that you need to give yourself a little bit of a break.
You can just pick a couple of things and do them really well than just to be able to do all right, even at work, and to be able to perform better. Yeah. I think setting those right expectations on what she really wants to drive is the key to it. So
and just making sure that you're communicating this to all the people in your life. So final question from the audience. This is from Atin Achaya. So in this modern era, everybody talks about work-life flexibility, but how challenging has it really been for you to manage your commitments and family members?
It won't happen overnight. I really want to call out. The minute you start working, it won't happen. There will be a lot of tests and trials and failures and success, and you really have to figure out what that means for you. For me, what work-life balance means might not be the same for the rest of the panel here to forget about everyone else in the world. So I think identify what is the fit solution that works for you, and maybe different solutions work at different phases, right? Like I'm sure Bharti at this point has like a different solution in place for handling a teenager versus me for a 3-year-old versus you who is just coming back from maternity leave, right? So I think that's what is key, understanding at this point in your time, what are the things that really work for you, set those expectations, and just try and work through them. So you will fail, you will learn, but you will do better the second time or the third time or the fourth time. But it won't happen overnight. That's what my recommendation or my learning has been.
Completely agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'm not sure you ever achieve balance. There's work and there's life and there's no balance.
We talk about work-life integration now.
Yes, that's the max you can get.
And balance would be boring, right? Like the reason I do my job is because it's interesting and it's different every day, and I work with incredible people, and that helps me, I hope, be a better parent as well. So I think just be comfortable with constant change. And be aware when you need to make that change, and also have use your support system. Like I have friends I can call when I think it's all falling apart, and we can go for a glass of wine and probably not figure it all out, but use the village as well.
Absolutely. Great. So we've shared a lot today, and I really enjoyed learning from each of you, and I hope our audience have taken away some tips as well. But if you have one piece of advice for women managing their professional and personal commitments, what would it be, Bharati?
I think you have to make it your own. Even this advice won't last for you. It's like it literally has to be what works for you, and don't be bound by seen, unseen, said or unsaid expectations of anybody else, but literally yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Focus on what's important.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think all moms are superwomen, but just don't try and do it all by yourself. Like as much as you want to, take help, ask for help, set expectations, even with your family members, right? I think sometimes we feel guilty, just to ask for help for your mother, for your husband, and you just expect them to help you out. Just go ask for it. I think that's my biggest step. Be open about your challenges, ask for help, and
don't try to do everything yourself.
We all are superwomen, I agree, and I'm on board with it, but we won't be able to do it alone. We really need a village to actually get it done. Yeah.
And don't compare.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So with that, we've come to the end of our live session. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you all as well for tuning in today. And if you have more questions, please continue to leave them down in the comments. And also, if you're interested in career opportunities at Facebook, please visit our careers webpage at facebook.com/careers. With that, we'll wrap up, and we'll see you at the next live.